Okay, guys.
Okay, go.
Knowledge graph optimization, understanding that cool box info to the right of the SERPs. So we've all seen it. It's this little box right here. And in the past few months, you've obviously heard me say a lot of like hoorays about being able to actually edit, adjust, and create these for our clients, which is freaking awesome. And this little box is also called the knowledge panel. So the knowledge panel is like, it's a visual element that comes from the knowledge graph. So the knowledge graph is like this big body of information, and then there's visual elements that show up, like the image, scroll, and other little factoids. So this is knowledge panel, which I'm focusing on. And let's see. All right, so there's 4 basic elements that go into knowledge graph optimization. We've got Google+, Wikipedia, schema, markup, and we've got Freebase, which is my favorite. All right, so Google+. So in my opinion, it's really imperative for every one of our companies to have a Google+ account if you want to have a knowledge graph and a knowledge panel. And a Google+ account also helps to validate the company in the eyes of Google, which we know. And a company with can have an extremely basic knowledge panel with just a website and a Google+ account, which we have seen happen. So when creating a Google+ account for a client, here's like a few tips. Use an email with the domain. When creating this account, this validates the company. Without a validated Google+ account, you will not have a knowledge graph. And if it's an international company, do not make it a Google+ account, because this will mess up how your knowledge graph displays, as we've seen. You'll see it as a Google local account or like a local page with a little map and stuff. And the reality is this isn't going to be showing the kind of information that you would potentially want it to show, like your Wikipedia article, stuff like that. And keep this page active, because once your knowledge panel shows, this is where all your posts are going to go. And you have about 165 characters of writing space, and in this place it'll also show a picture of your latest post, and you can even put a bit.ly link in there that'll link directly from your knowledge panel to your website and not have to go through your your Google+ page, which is pretty cool. So here's some examples of that. So Observe It, we actually did, we created a knowledge panel for them and a knowledge graph, and this is the before. And then after I edited it to Freebase and populated all their stuff, we were able to get a knowledge panel showing, which was so cool. And so, so you can see, just by them having a Google+ account, they don't even have a Wikipedia account, they just have Google+, we were able to create that for them. And then you can see like they use tinyURL, and that will link directly to their site in there. And let's see, okay. So here's some little factoids. If you're a large brand like Nike, the chances of getting a knowledge graph and having that automatically populate will happen. It's very high, because you're such a big brand that they're just going to kind of create that for you, regardless if it's entered on Freebase or not. However, for our smaller companies, we're going to need this extra push to get these brands showing up on the side. So this is where Freebase comes into account with Google+. So by entering in our Google+ information into a Freebase, and by creating a Freebase account for them, we kind of give it some extra like chutzpah. And then what Freebase does is it doesn't actually have all of this content that has the any content that's showing up in your knowledge panel from Google+ is not actually in Freebase. The only thing in Freebase is your Google+ account URL. What happens is Freebase says, hey, I see that you've entered this Google+ information. We're going to put some energy towards your Google+ account, and then that Google+ account is going to push out the information. So what you get from a Google+ account knowledge panel is your brand, a follow button, your logo, and your recent posts, which are highlighted right there.
Does recent posts link to the actual post? Or?
That's what I was saying before, is it doesn't link to the actual post. It can link into your Google+ page, but you can put a bit.ly or tinyURL in there that will link directly to the post.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Wikipedia! Okay. Wikipedia feeds directly into Freebase, which then feeds directly into the knowledge graph. If you can, get a Wikipedia article for your company to help better populate your knowledge graph and knowledge panel, obviously. I think it's really important for us to be doing this. So when writing a Wikipedia article, here's some very important tips. Keep it factual. This is not for us to be like your initial Wikipedia article, for it to get up, just keep it as fact-based and dry as possible, because you just want it to be somewhere that people can go to learn about the company. It's not an area for marketing. This is not for sales. This is really just facts. Use Freebase as a template, and we're going to be talking about Freebase in a bit, and I'll kind of show you how to use it as a template, but everything from Wikipedia actually funnels into Freebase, like I said before, and populates certain areas. And so these certain areas, you can look on Freebase and say, hey, I can populate those with information, so I'm going to create my Wikipedia article so that it will naturally flow into those sections. It's kind of cool how that works. And then use competitors as examples. There's no need to ever reinvent the wheel. And then there's like a bunch of other recommendations, all that stuff's at the end. There's like links that you guys can use. Okay, so Wikipedia. So here we can see Foursquare has a Wikipedia account, but before I messed with their Freebase account, they only had their Google Plus account showing. So after populating their Freebase with more content, I was actually able to get their Wikipedia account to show, which is so cool. Look at that. It's like, wow, so pretty.
I think you should like contact Foursquare and demand payment.
Checking at their offices.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool to see that happen. And so now not only do you get your recent post showing, you actually get their Wikipedia information. And this, as we're seeing with other companies, like Nefesh B'Nefesh, will actually, once you keep populating this stuff, once your Wikipedia is up, you're going to start getting smaller things showing up, like the CEO or contact numbers or stuff like that. So it's really awesome to be able to manipulate that and get the Wikipedia information showing.
Why didn't Wiki flow directly into Freebase?
Wiki did flow directly into Freebase. So when I was in the Foursquare account, Wikipedia was recognized. However, they just didn't have enough population within their Freebase. And so even though all the information was there, sometimes Freebase, like I was saying before, it needs that extra push, and we need to be those people manually pushing more information into there to validate the account.
It was different information or Wikipedia information? You just populated
I just populated other fields with,
and made it more like a magnet for everything to start working.
Right. So I'm connecting more entities within Freebase to Foursquare, and so then they're like, okay, fine, I see that you're really putting whatever.
This is a real thing.
Right. Exactly.
Does Freebase crawl Wikipedia? Is that how it gets?
Yeah. So there's actually there's Freebase Wikibots. There's a bunch of them, and you'll see some like Foursquare, for example, was created by like a Wikibot. So anytime a Freebase or a Wikipedia article is created, it immediately populates into Freebase. Yeah, which is awesome.
Do you have any idea why these bots might have a hard time crawling Wiki pages, so it wasn't able to extract it itself?
So I'm not saying that it didn't extract the information. It did extract Wikipedia, and you'll see an example of what a Freebase account looks like. But the issue was that it just didn't have, like, on the Foursquare page, I populated things like awards, I populated what time of
didn't have just enough data there to pass it over an initial threshold of significance or relevance.
So all of this content was already in there in terms of like that little Wikipedia blurb, but I populated it with extra stuff, really being like, all the things are going into this. So that kind of
weird that I imagine people like in the Foursquare office looking at their analytics account and like having no idea why they have a massive spike in traffic.
Google Plus is really big for us these days.
Man, it must
social media pat on the back.
Some random girl in Israel like with their thing.
So another cool feature of Wikipedia is, I mean, we've all probably noticed it, but I wanted to highlight it, is this little drop down. If you have a Wikipedia article and it's correctly connected to your website, you're going to get a gray little drop down next to your URL, which is so cool. And
is that only Wikipedia though?
That's only Wikipedia content. Yeah. So sometimes a company doesn't have a right-hand knowledge panel, but if you have a Wikipedia and your site is connected, this will still show up regardless if you have a knowledge panel or not. But it's so cool. Okay, so Wikipedia and the knowledge graph. As I stated previously, a Freebase topic is automatically created for every approved Wikipedia article, and relevant information populates that topic. And then Freebase feeds that information into the knowledge graph. Thus, the Wikipedia article does not, I want to highlight, does not feed directly into the knowledge graph.
But Freebase is the only source of information into that little snippet there?
No. I will address that later.
Sorry.
This means that the knowledge graph does not immediately reflect new Wikipedia information. We saw this happen. I don't know if you guys remember, like a few months ago, there's this like hoo-ha about, and what's his name? I can't remember his name right now. Who's the owner of Rusty Brick?
Very Schwartz.
Very Schwartz, thank you. He highlighted a company was going to sue Google or something because their knowledge graph was not updated, even though they had updated their Wikipedia entry. So I went into their Freebase account, looked at it, their Freebase had not been updated, meaning Freebase hadn't scraped the content from Wikipedia and showing me, okay, so Freebase really is, in terms of the Wikipedia content, Freebase is kind of the little gatekeeper. So if you ever update anything on Wikipedia, update it in Freebase. Do not assume.
You have to do that yourself. Freebase won't.
If you want it to update sooner than later, because
You can't force a recrawl or whatever?
Right.
As far as I know, you can't.
So you update it in Wikipedia and then manually
And
update it in
then, I mean,
Freebase.
it will eventually.
So Freebase doesn't have like.
No, it will
set
eventually
crawls?
recall, like every few weeks, or it's. I'm trying to like get a number to it. I can't really find a number,
Does
but
it
every
depend
few
on the
weeks,
site?
it kind of crawls whenever it wants. But the thing is if it's really important information, you're like, oh crap, there's like a CEO change, and it's imperative that this gets changed.
Right.
Then if it's that
You can
high
manually do
important, I would recommend manually doing it.
Do you think it's different? Their crawl times for different things?
I don't know. I really don't.
Like
know.
the same way Google's.
Right.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Alright.
Alrighty, schema.
Oh, cool. I like your background.
Thank you.
Nice template.
I know, isn't it? So schema.org, schema markup helps search engine understand the content of your site. And correct schema markup will help to auto-populate Freebase and the knowledge graph. Okay, schema, what's that? I know I said that like a month ago. Schema markup is a language, like I said before, helps the search engines understand your site's content. Adding schema markup to your site will help search engines understand which search queries best relate to you and how to display that info. Schema can help the SERPs, reviews, price, phone numbers, breadcrumbs, pretty much anything that you want it to show, we can make our content show how we want it to, which is so cool. Here's an example of what I'm talking about. So here's a schema result sans markup. And here is, a search result sans schema markup. This is a search result with schema markup. So do you guys see the difference there? Like up here, we don't have rating, we don't have reviews, we don't have the price or anything about being in stock. Below, we do have this. This literally is schema markup in use, which is so cool to see. And then here this is kind of for you guys for future use if you want to be like, how did they get the rating? Here's the actual schema markup used on their page to get that rating to show. So I showed it for the rating and the review and the price and if it's in stock. So these are just 4 examples of the different schema markups. Schema markup does not get rid of title text, like how much you have the title text. It doesn't get rid of how much you have the meta description. It's literally, you can just add stuff to the SERPs. It's so cool. Because look how awesome that looks. Okay, anyway.
And that helps for click-through rate as opposed to, like, it doesn't have, like, ranking.
No.
Right.
Like meta descriptions, which is better.
Right.
It's not a direct ranking signal, but there's a correlation.
Sure.
Of course, because
ranking
click-through
because
rate.
they say, no, not even click-through rate. I'm just saying probably the companies who are marking up their sites like this have better SEO.
Right, it's correlated.
Separately.
It's not causative.
Okay. Right.
But,
And then
I get it, yeah.
but I also think clickstream is also. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Because that just looks more legit and gives you a reason.
In this video. Okay, keep going.
Okay. So schema and Freebase. Oh, I forgot to update the site. Okay, whatever. I'll explain it.
Oh, Rob.
I know, I'm sorry guys.
That's it, we're done.
We're done.
Shut it down.
Once the correct schema markup is used on a Freebase on a site, Freebase will populate the corresponding topic with marked up information. Freebase then feeds that information to the knowledge graph and shows up on the knowledge panel. Also, sometimes schema markup will feed directly into the knowledge panel without it being entered in Freebase. Recently, Google has released an article explaining to companies if they have a knowledge panel or knowledge graph, if they want their customer service numbers to be showing on their knowledge panel, you just have to enter in a certain schema markup and it will just feed directly into your knowledge panel. This was released, I think, April 8th, so it's relatively new. I haven't found an example of it yet because people are just implementing it, but I think we're trying to implement it on one of the client sites that has a knowledge graph.
So you're saying this arrow just goes straight?
I need to add another arrow that just goes straight to that. Exactly.
Just for customer service,
just for certain schema.
Right. And I think this is a really good example in terms of like future proofing. If we're seeing that schema is able to feed directly into your knowledge panel, let's account for that. Let's be thinking that direction because Google is really all about this knowledge graph thing. So I think the more schema markup that we can use to really identify things on the site, it's important that we should do that.
That you want Google to show, not them hitting your site.
Exactly.
Right. The downside of that is if you give them information that is proprietary or that you want someone to come to your site to get.
They're not going to click your site if they see it right there.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
But like a
watch
customer-
Wizard's roster now is going to show. You can actually go to the Wizard site to see
Right.
that. It's just you get information, which is great for the user, but you know.
You should give them like just enough information that they're like, what's
Right.
the rest of it? And then they have to click through.
Yeah,
You can manipulate it.
less and less.
Alrighty, Freebase.
I think you're addicted to Freebase.
I am addicted to freebasing. What's going on?
Nobody. Only a here.
Oh, come on. Like, I don't know what that's about.
This is gonna be a great video. Yeah, I do.
This just proves the ADD in our
Yeah. Okay, so Freebase, my favorite thing in the whole wide world. I love it. Okay, so Freebase is a connective tissue that helps Google understand which queries relate to which topics and which topics relate to each other. In my opinion, Freebase is key to displaying visual elements of your knowledge graph if it does not show up automatically. And while the content that shows in the knowledge graph comes from multiple sites, majority of text-based content, not from Google+, siphons through Freebase. All right, Freebase editing. Editing Freebase is rather straightforward. You have to create a Freebase account using one of your previously made Gmail accounts. Any Wikipedia article, or when any Wikipedia article is creating, the corresponding Freebase topic page will also be created and populated with info, as I told you guys.
By the creepy crawlers.
By the Wikibot. If your company doesn't have a Wikipedia article, you can easily create a Freebase topic page. Just make sure they have a Google Plus page, so at least they can have a basic knowledge graph. And I will show you how to do that. If your company has multiple redundant Freebase topics, which we're seeing with one of our clients, you can combine topics. Double check first, though, that they are in fact redundant, because sometimes it's like an umbrella company that also has like another little brand, like made an app or whatever. So make sure that they are in fact truly redundant before combining. Yes.
So just because your company doesn't have a Wikipedia article doesn't mean that you should create a Wikipedia article? This is a trick question.
Wait, what?
Just because the company doesn't have a Wikipedia article doesn't mean that they should create. Does it mean that they should create one?
Doesn't mean they
It depends.
have to get a knowledge graph.
No, it's
It
not.
doesn't.
It's not.
It depends on what the company is. You don't want to be filling Wikipedia with like some weird brand that really has no relevant information what people are going to be searching for. So you want to, of course, be aware of what your what Wikipedia article you are creating, and if it's something that's relevant
or notorious or
noteworthy.
Right,
Yeah.
noteworthy. Thank you. But the cool thing is, which I did discover with, as we saw with Observe It, they don't have a Wikipedia article. They have a knowledge graph.
Who's that?
Observe It, as I showed previously. So that's kind of cool.
Because they have a Google Plus account?
Because they have a Google Plus account. And that's it. That's all that's in there.
So you either need one or the other or both?
Right.
But you need Google Plus. You can't just have a Wikipedia without Google Plus?
You can have a Wikipedia. You can have Wikipedia, you can have
So
Google
you can
Plus.
really have one or the other.
Yeah,
Right.
you're just not getting both information.
But if you have neither, then there's not going to be anything that's showing up, unless you're like a celebrity, and that's completely unrelated. I'm not delving into that.
Nope.
Okay, Freebase editing. 4 key terms. Okay, so the topic. When you go on Freebase and then you type in, I typed in Foursquare, the topic is the big entity. This is the page. And then we have the types. So on every topic, a type can be asserted. A type defines what a topic is. So for example, Foursquare is a software, it's a website, it's a award nominee, it's a ranked item, I guess. So you can go through and figure out all the different types, and you can even use like your competitors that have Freebase accounts as examples to what sorts of types you want to assert. The more types, in my opinion, the more content that's coming in, the more correlations that Freebase can make, and the better chance you have of a knowledge graph. Properties are the different elements that make up a type. And then value is the text that's entered. Some text you can enter, like the year that it was founded or the CEO. Other things you can't, are locked, like the Wikipedia description. You can't manually change that on Freebase. You have to change that on Wikipedia.
So, sorry, but just to clarify. So before you said, if you want something updated that you've updated on Wikipedia quicker,
yeah.
So things like the description in certain Wikipedia fields are locked, but other Wikipedia fields are editable.
Like the CEO or
stuff that would show up in the table on the right side.
Right, exactly.
To the main,
so the main chunk, those one or two sentences, we cannot edit that on Freebase. That's only editable on Wikipedia.
Right.
However, the rest of that little, like those bullet
data
points,
fields, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That can be edited by us.
Very cool.
Alrighty. So I actually broke down how 3 cool different things that you can do in Freebase so that you guys can visually see what it's like, because a bunch of articles will tell you about Freebase, they won't walk you through it, and it's not the most simplest thing the first time around. So freebase.com, find the search bar, guys, there it is. And then type in your company. As you type, a list of suggestions will populate, and then click the name of your company. And if your company doesn't exist, not to worry, the next slide will show you how to add it in. All right, so adding a topic. So take a look at the, on the same front page, you want to look at something called Explore Freebase Data. Down here, you're going to find the topic that you're adding to. So if I'm creating my business, Robin is Awesome, I'm going to select business, and I did. And look through the business by type. So these are the different types that define business, and select the most applicable type. So for this, I selected brands. And then I click, so once you open up brand, it's going to take you to this lovely page. Click the gear in the upper right hand corner and click add a topic. And then Robin is Awesome, and you click create. So that's creating a topic. Asserting new types. You just type in the type that you want. Find the type that you want to assert. As you'll type, a list will automatically populate. And then click yes, assert this type. I don't know why there's a 1 next to that, but whatever. Okay, that's my OCD. Okay, so Freebase and the knowledge graph. And do you guys have any questions? I think the best thing for you guys to do is just to go in there and kind of experiment yourself to learn it. But
there's like a review process in Freebase, right? You can't
right. So anytime that you create something or edit something, it won't automatically stick. Someone has to go through and review it and approve it, and then it will.
Ask, like, you did the thing for Foursquare. Like, anyone can just go on.
Anyone can.
She wasn't adding spam. She was connecting their Wikipedia article, but just like
no, I know, but
there's a peer review process that does go on.
So, I mean, maybe we should talk. We should do this discussion maybe at the end, because I feel like there's gonna be a lot of talk about this.
Okay. So Freebase and the knowledge graph. So the fact of the matter is Freebase plays a huge part in the knowledge graph, and many companies need to utilize this to show their knowledge panel, including majority of the brands that we work with. Freebase acts as a gateway to the knowledge graph. It organizes and classifies all the information into bits which are displayable in the SERPs. So this is my semi-complicated little graph that shows you guys how it all works. Except for the schema dotted line.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But why? So beyond the fact that it's really cool to be able to edit the knowledge graphs, I love it. There are actually 3 great reasons for you to optimize, utilize, and edit the space. First off, branding, obviously. Having a chunk of information about the company makes your brand look that much more reputable in the eyes of the potential consumer. And these are like for Nike, like look at all this crap that they get like on the SERPs about their company. Free ad space. If done right, at least you get your Google Plus account to show, which includes your latest post to follow your Google Plus page. At most, you get half of the Google SERPs page devoted solely to your brand for free. I think that's pretty awesome. And then lastly, future-proofing. Like I said before, the Google algorithms are getting smarter, learning what queries relate to which topics by using more intelligent methods. We don't know what the next update has in store, but one thing's for sure, the knowledge graph and the visual elements which display in the SERPs are here to stay. So let's get ahead of the curve and get our sites connected, like to other sites, obviously.
Yeah. Oh.
Okay, so take advantage of the knowledge graph space. Regardless of the size of your knowledge graph, take advantage of the space and use this to engage potential customers. And then, this is a rhetorical question. Which would you choose? Yeah, guys, which one would you choose?
Option 2.
Alright, you're fired. So go, try it for yourself. The best way to learn KGO is to take this new set of tools and find a brand in need and dive in head first. Trust me, it will be awesome when your edits take hold. And these changes don't take effect overnight or within a month. Be patient, but be ready for a lot of this. And once you see your changes take effect in the knowledge graph, yeah, self, we did this.
That's totally you, like every other day. Yeah, Freebase!
Yeah, seriously, she'll be sitting there, she'll be like, whoa! You're like, what is she?
So guys, KGO for all the things, because how could this presentation be complete without a single all the things reference? I mean, it's me. And helpful link things.
Wow.
So there you go.
Wonderful.
Wow.
Yay.
Man, somebody's raising the bar.
That's what I was thinking.
All right, I have 2 quick questions and 1 big question.
Yes.
Okay. Are there other sources besides Google Plus and Freebase that you've noticed that are, well, A, that have noticed, or B, like that are editable that go into the knowledge graph panel?
My experience, and including schema, because that also feeds in there,
right.
Directly from the site, though, I haven't seen that.
Pearl Jam albums or Washington Wizards roster, and I get the carousel.
Right.
Are you considering the carousel as part of?
So I haven't done my research on that stuff. I did it purely on the brand.
Right.
So I don't know where that information is coming from. However, I have, like, for example, I searched like Jerusalem, and under Jerusalem there's things like cool places to check out and universities. Sure. All that information is in Freebase.
Holy crap!
Yeah.
What about things like stock tickers?
So for Nike in Freebase, for the Nike one, the stock thing is under. There's a type called like stock or whatever. And in that, it's just a link to the Freebase account of that stock company, the whatever. I don't even know what it is.
But how does it
But the thing is I think that because of that connection, it feeds directly from the site. The stock has a feed that goes into that. But on Freebase, that connection is made so that it knows that those two things are connected.
Probably some publicly accessible API. Okay, my second question.
Yes.
Is Freebase, because I'm like totally naive to this whole situation, is Freebase partially or wholly owned by Google?
Wholly owned by Google.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay, that was the company they had bought a while ago, but I think it was called something else. But Freebase is the system.
Right, so like whenever you log in, you have to log in using a Google account.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so nice segue to my third and big question.
Yes.
Which is, I think in all of SEO in the history, there have been things like this.
Yeah.
Google does something, scrapes something information. I don't think in a bad way, but optimizers find ways to optimize their visual space.
Yeah.
And it gets spammed out.
Okay.
Right? So I imagine that the peer review process will only get stricter, that that there will be some sort of level of authority or equity in the system.
Right.
All tied to some other great signal, which is your Google Gmail address or Google Apps that you know. Right. So have you already started to see indications of gamification, point system, some sort of karma level like you have in Reddit or other social networks where how many fields you edited gets listed somewhere? Like, is there anything on the front end that you can already see, like a little superstar, something?
There's no, from what I can tell and looking at my account, because I tried to research this, there's no real point association with my account. But what I have noticed on certain things, I've actually been able to vote on. Like sometimes if someone's trying to combine a topic, it says, would you like to vote for this? And before I would click yes.
Vote meaning like concur?
Should I concur? Would I vote yes or no?
So
and so before I wasn't able to ever, it would say, sorry, you aren't whatever schooled enough.
Leveled up.
And so I've leveled up because I've made thousands of different connections.
Something in here. Okay, so
but it's not very blatant. It's not blatant.
Now, but they have the infrastructure to already give you the authority to vote.
Right. So and I do see it. I mean, I can see what you're saying when it comes to spamming it out, but in terms of like for creating just a Google Plus knowledge graph, all I did was create a Freebase.
Sure, but as you start to like add entities, like I want to get more data in there, or as we start to see other things showing up, this becomes their new relevancy engine.
Right.
It's like a title tag for every entity thing that you could imagine. Do you know what I mean? Like you're providing relevance for X, Y, Z.
Right.
I think getting in early, like I think your message to us and the whole world is that is get in there early, start making edits, become a valued member of the Freebase community.
Yeah, I think that there's no negative to that.
Not at all.
Like getting it now and really understanding it.
This is obviously where they want to go.
Yeah, cool. And it's just cool to see any edits in Freebase feeding directly into the knowledge graph.
It's like the old school SEO, just like
so
instant gratification.
Yeah, or like in a few months, but it's there.
No, but I mean like just that feeling of like I changed the way Google is.
Yeah.
That's all. Thank you.
Yes.
I also have two questions.
Yes.
The first is, do you see the knowledge graph coming up on all branded searches, meaning like the brand plus other keywords? And the second part of that is, have you ever seen it come up for non-branded searches?
We just saw it come up yesterday for non-branded. No, we saw site links come up for non-branded.
Well, I can give you an example. Recipes are non-branded. So if you type not recipes, but like caloric content, or like if you type broccoli, sometimes you'll see
you'll see just
fiber.
It really is dependent. I've also wondered that same thing, and I haven't really delved into that. But look at like Dr. Pete has like a good survey of all the different types of SERPs, and I think
Yeah, I mean, like it changes all the time. But
Yeah.
I would look at some of it.
In terms of a branded knowledge panel, though, for like Nike, for example, I don't.
What about like Nike plus
Nike-
words or
Nike.
right, any
Nike
word
Fast.
plus
Nike
a
Fast.
I have
longer
seen
term.
it. For Nike, I have seen it pop up with
For
Nike
different
plus something.
Something,
Yeah,
right.
right. But there is the brand in there.
Right.
But it also
So what
it's a
about,
huge brand.
what about
so
an example would be, I've seen
right.
information come up, which is not actually their full name. We can cut this off.
Yeah, it's
And-
Please. Right.
Which is their full name as per Freebase.
Right. Right.
Who's your contact there?
No, so it does like if you have like a version of your brand that you're typing in, it will show up. So yeah, like or if I start to type, well, actually, don't have a knowledge graph. Sorry, unrelated.
We're already cutting it off.
We're cutting it out. We're cutting it out.
No, it's fine. They're on our website. Like,
Yeah, whatever. Though I have seen it pop up for like semi-related terms to that brand, like a derivative of that name, I guess.
Is there any?
Oh, look, I was just gonna say, like derivatives. Can you add that into Freebase? Is there like a synonyms
So that's
of brands?
the thing
fields?
is that I haven't
aliases.
I haven't gone into that, but there's a
Right.
whole section called queries that like you can type in. I think I haven't manipulated it yet, so I
Wow.
don't know. But
That's
my
huge.
thing, I think what you can do is actually type in a query and say that this query relates to this.
My gray hat
Wow.
side
So-
just kind of leaked out of my ear. And the gray matter.
But I haven't. I'm not educated in that yet. But I would
Wow.
love to learn more. But I think that there is.
Red flag.
Yeah.
Anybody who edits this field is a spammer.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a lot of it's just straight up coding. It's not something that you can just type in. This query relates to this. Like you've got to code it in to relate the queries. But
Learn all the codes.
learn all the codes.
Wait, I have a
Yes.
second question.
Two questions. But
Okay, yeah.
Did you
What's your
finish
second-
yours? 'Cause you had two
Let's
I
let her
too.
go. She was.
Yeah,
Oh,
there we go.
sorry, I didn't realize that.
Okay, my second question is quick. What's an example of schema that feeds directly into the knowledge graph,
So
not
an
through Google Plus?
An example of schema would be the phone number. Like I said before, Google recently released a
Right.
schema that will feed directly in without any manual entering into
Okay, so
Freebase.
just that. Sorry.
Yeah, but I think I haven't found any other examples because I think it's still relatively new. I'm not sure.
I think reviews.
maybe reviews are on
Use
the
the Google
search
Plus.
results
Reviews are on
themselves,
the
not
they're not they
side.
don't
On the knowledge panel.
right the knowledge panel, but that doesn't mean that they're not a part of the knowledge graph. So that's
Right.
it's like the big
Yeah,
amorphous
I think-
blob that feeds into these really pretty
Right.
visual elements. Okay, Rachel.
Okay, two
Question.
questions. One, is there any advantage of using a company email address when you're signing up for Knowledge Graph versus a personal email address in terms of editing your company and authority?
I think we addressed that.
I
Like a Google
For Google-
Ads.com versus Gmail.com.
No,
or
like
you mean your name
like at observant.com.
Right, like the
versus-
Google Apps ad observer.
Weren't you saying that you have to, or was that for Google Plus
Versus
account?
It's a
Rachel
Gmail. It's a
at
Google ad. It's a
So
Google
it's-
email that you have. Oh, but you can do it with any.
just for the Google Plus, and I think we saw this with another client, is that they didn't have an email that had the domain name in
Right.
it. I don't think it matters what the front of that email is.
Okay.
I think all that matters really is that it has domain
Okay.
at the end of it, so that they can connect those things.
No, but for Freebase, I think she's suggesting
said,
perhaps
for knowledge?
to look objective,
You mean for
To
the
look objective as a user who's editing.
Oh.
kind of like you would on Wikipedia. You wouldn't be like brand guy.
right?
Like,
So yeah, my is actually my personal. I did my
Right.
personal account just because I know
Right.
that
I
I'm
did also.
gonna continue doing this for a long time.
Right.
Like the knowledge
No, I think
process.
I
So
think it makes
it's-
sense. I think
I think
that
it's best to just kind of keep it personal.
I think
Yeah.
objective. Like I think if you're building up a name,
Yeah, I don't think it has any effect.
Instead of using your
and nobody owns the information in Freebase.
Right.
Right.
So you can go
Which
in
is
there and
nice.
see, like, you can actually look at every edit that has ever been made on a page, and it's edited by a bunch of different
But my
people.
point is, like, a company never stands to lose informational capital. Like a social media account's another story,
Right.
because that was a login,
Yeah.
only one person. But Freebase is for the world.
For all the people.
Question.
Yes.
Is there a difference between editing schema via webmaster tools versus manually putting it on the site? Because I know like Roth and I have tried before.
That I don't.
tried Webmaster
That I don't
That's
know.
why I have the
Oh,
data
yes.
highlighter.
Data
Data
highlighter.
highlighters that you pooped on.
It's
and
crap.
But I think
ugly.
from what I've seen, it looks like it's actually just on the site. From the examples that I've seen, like I just go straight into.
You've never seen like
Never seen it.
something populating that you think is schema that wasn't in the code. Like you've been able to find it in the code.
I always find
Yeah,
the code.
yeah. No,
Always.
data
Anytime
highlighter.
I see reviews, it's just straight in the code.
Like data
Where do
highlighter.
reviews come
It's a
from?
great
Website
idea.
or